Hi, and welcome to Plugged In and our special episode of the 2018 Canadian Transplant Games.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lynn Collier. I work with Global BC, and it is my absolute honor and pleasure to be with you here tonight. The Vancouver Local Organizing Committee would like to welcome you to these opening ceremonies here for the Vancouver 2018 Canadian Transplant Games. As part of the Games, we also honor living donors and donor families. Please welcome our transplant athletes. Leading the parade, please welcome from the Vancouver Police Pipe Band, Piper Owen Reed, and First Nations spiritual elder Perry Omiasu, and carrying in the Canadian flag from the Surrey Outreach Team, Surrey Detachment RCMP Corporal Scotty Schumann. Carrying in the Games flag, Brenda Brown, CTG Games Manager, kidney recipient, 5 years, and Margaret Benson, BC Canadian Transplant Association representative and CTG Special Events Lead, double lung transplant recipient, 1999, 18 years ago. Quebec, with their flag bearer, Marie-Joëlle Coutu, double lung transplant recipient in 2016, 2 years ago. The Quebec team has 20 athletes. Quebec. Matthew Chudek, heart transplant recipient 3 to 8 years ago. Northwest Territories. Manitoba, with their flag bearer Dale Sinclair, transplanted 21 years ago. The Manitoba team has 5 athletes. Manitoba.
It's incredible. We've been doing this since 2000 when we were in Sherbrooke, Quebec, and some of you have been there. And, we're still doing it. It's our 9th Games. And look at you. You're all healthy, you're working out, you're showing up at the Games, and that's what's so important, just living life to the fullest.
Saskatchewan, with their flag bearer Carol Epp, liver recipient 11 years ago. The Saskatchewan team has 6 athletes. Saskatchewan. Team USA, with their flag bearer Carol Fitzsimmons, kidney transplant recipient 18 years ago from a living donor. The USA team has 3 athletes. USA. Alberta, with their flag bearer Atticus Payne, heart transplant recipient 2008, 10 years ago. And Al Arnston, double lung 8 years ago. The Alberta team has 22 athletes.
I was talking to some people from BC Transplant who do so much work with so many families here. Last year in British Columbia, there were 476 transplants, lives saved, lives made better, all of us made better. There are 4,600 people in BC receiving post-transplant care. The numbers are increasing every year.
Newfoundland Labrador, with their flag bearer Jonathan Hickman, kidney recipient 3 years ago. The Newfoundland Labrador team has 1 athlete and 1 donor family. Newfoundland Labrador. Ontario, with their flag bearers Caroline Vaness, living kidney donor and wife of the former CTA president Aubrey Goldstein, and Andrea Clegg, heart recipient 7 years ago. Ontario. Welcome to our amigos and amigas from Mexico, with their flag bearer Hector Calleras, kidney transplant recipient 11 years ago. The Mexican team has 3 athletes.
And this event could never have happened if it weren't for these extraordinary people. I want to thank our living donors, our donors in heaven, and our donor families. You are the heroes of this whole journey.
我也希望落嚟喺呢個世界上有越嚟越多個志願者捐器官，可以幫到更多啲人，讓更多啲人受益。也希望越嚟越多衞生人士嚟支持器官協會，捐款出力做貢獻，讓呢個世界充滿陽光同埋愛。多謝大家。
I hope in the future, in this world, there will be more people who will enlist themselves to be organ donors, to help those who are still waiting for transplants so many more can benefit like I did.
And now let's welcome our host province, British Columbia, with their flag bearers Bob McKinnon, heart transplant recipient 4 years ago, and our youth athlete Addison MacArthur, heart recipient 7 years ago. The BC team has 44 athletes. British Columbia.
I now declare the Vancouver 2018 Canadian Transplant Games officially open!
Hi, and welcome to the 2018 Canadian Transplant Games, being proudly hosted here in Vancouver at the UBC campus. And boy, it's an exciting 5 days ahead for Plugged In, because we are going to be here covering so many of the events, ranging from cycling, road racing, there's lawn bowling coming up, tennis, swimming, badminton, and of course, track and field on the last day. You are not going to want to miss it, because we're going to be talking to kidney recipients, living donors, transplant recipients, volunteer officials, and everybody involved in putting together such a magnificent event. So there's lots of excitement coming up. So stay with us, because we're going to bring it to you next, all during this episode. You are actually the head of what we call the unsung heroes here, the backbone of an organization like this, which is the volunteer coordinator for
Absolutely,
the Canadian
yes,
Transplant
and they are. And then we try not to make sure that they aren't unsung. We want them to recognize at every event that we go to that this couldn't happen without their incredible efforts.
So we'll put
backbone is exactly right.
Yeah, the backbone of any organization. I was so impressed at the opening ceremonies. I think they said you have over 120 volunteers there.
Exactly, at least 120, and they come from across Canada, as far away as Newfoundland, and from Ontario, a huge contingency from Ontario and the prairies. We've been so fortunate that people have just put up their hand. We didn't even really have to do a lot of outreach. People really wanted to do this. Towards the end, we had to say, my goodness, we've got enough, I think. So we've been very fortunate.
Well, that's a good news story.
A really good news
Now,
story.
we know that something like this didn't happen, wasn't coordinated in 2 weeks. Take me back. When
we
did this
started really our hard efforts in January of this year, which is actually an incredibly short time frame. Normally an event of this size would be about 18 months, so we've had to do it in a very condensed format. So we started hard work with this in about January, and our first volunteer call was in February, and it's just been picking up momentum since then. But it's been an incredible journey, that's for sure.
Actually, the first person to step up and volunteer was
John
from
Van
Ontario.
Leeuwenhout from Ontario, February the 24th, and I couldn't believe it when I first met him when I showed up here, and he said, "That's me! I'm the first one to put my name down," so it was really nice to meet him. So we've got both sporting events, and we've had a lot of special events, like the Donor Family Walk, which is to really highlight and be grateful about the families who have donated their organs. So we've had that event, we've had the family picnic, and then we've had about 20 different sports, a full array of track and field, badminton, golf, lawn bowling, 5K run. It's just, the breadth has been incredible.
You just ran the 1K, right? Were you really pleased with your performance?
Yeah, I thought I could have done better, but I did pretty good.
I think they always feel that way, right? Were you nervous before the start, or?
No, not really, because I've done the bigger races before.
Oh, great. Okay, so what have you competed in before?
1500s, 1800s, and sprinting races.
And that is amazing, because Riley, you are a liver transplant recipient.
Yeah,
And when did you receive your liver transplant?
when I was 10 months old, on July 4th, 2007.
Amazing. And look at you, racing and running. And have you always been into sports?
Yeah, it's just what I love. I do soccer and taekwondo and lots of running races.
Take us back a little bit for anybody that doesn't know about a liver transplant. Can you just go through a little bit of Riley's story?
So when Riley was about 4 months old, he fell off the growth chart. He was really small and he became jaundiced. We went to the hospital. They did lots of testing, He was okay for several months, but he started to decline when he was about 9 months old. So we went to Sick Kids in Toronto. He was placed on the transplant list, and then they told us about living-related donation. So I had my assessment done, and I became Riley's donor, and we had our transplant on July 4th, 2007.
And how were you post-transplant?
Fantastic. It was 6 weeks recovery. It was a hard recovery, but it was 6 weeks, and I was back to normal and been healthy ever since.
What does it mean to you to be in Vancouver here, competing at another competition? Because you're a veteran, right, of competition.
It feels really good to be able to be part of such a big thing, and we traveled so far to do the games, and even though I'm the only one in my category, I was reminded by Brian that even though it's that I get a gold every time because there's no competitors, that I worked for it because I trained and I came all the way out here from Ontario.
Just having crossed the finish line, we've got Kelly and Pam. Hello.
Hello.
Wow, so how are you feeling?
Tired, but really, really good.
Okay, so Kelly and Pam, can you say where you're from and what transplant you've had?
I'm Kelly. I'm a liver transplant recipient from Cambridge, Ontario. And I'm Pam. I'm a heart recipient, also from Cambridge, Ontario.
Okay, so I have to ask, this is an amazing bike here, a tandem bike.
Some of my issues after my transplant included that I lost some of my vision, but I always liked to cycle and didn't really want to give it up. So decided to enter in a tandem. So as I say before the start line, Kelly is the liver and the eyes, and I'm the heart and the power. And the soul.
And only the sole competitor from Newfoundland.
Yeah, I'm great to be representing the province.
It's such a great place, you only need one, right?
Well, it'd be nice to see some more of my friends come out.
Well, that's what this is about, right? It's about building awareness and inspiration, and you certainly are one.
Thank you.
Now you're here, how many? You're going to do the 5K trials, the 20K cycle, anything else you'll be competing in?
And I'll also be doing the 5K road race, and I'll also be doing the 200-meter swim, and then the 25 relay.
Wow. So there's no stopping you, basically, John.
I'll keep me busy. It's going to keep me going all week.
So you are a kidney transplant recipient.
Correct. I had my transplant in January of 2015, and my sister was my donor. So I have my sister's kidney racing with me all the time.
Now, that's what we call the Kidney Foundation or Kidney Heroes, right?
Very much.
So is this your first transplant game post-transplant?
I competed in Toronto 2 years ago, and last year I was with Team Canada in Spain and did the exact same events in Toronto and in Spain.
Now, John, just take me back. You had your transplant in 2015, right, from a living donor. Prior to that, what's your story?
So I had what's called reflux. My bladder was sealed over at birth, and so a couple days into my life, I had damaged my kidneys. And so after that, I had multiple operations, which ended 3 years ago with my 13th operation, which was a transplant. So I had operations at birth to keep going as far as they could, and then eventually a doctor in Boston did major surgery on me that enabled me to survive and carry on until I was able to get a transplant, or until I needed a transplant.
So post-transplant, I mean, that's quite a story. Post-transplant, how have you been?
Perfect. Yeah. No, full of energy, doing all the things I want to do, traveling around the world, spending time with my family. So no, I really have a great story afterwards too.
So we just finished our doubles, and we had a great morning. A lot of teams out there, a lot of medals presented. I didn't place, but boy, it was a fun morning. Yeah,
and we're just squeezing the interview in actually between games because you're up next with, what is that?
It's the triples.
Triple.
Yeah, so we're going to go out there and see how we do in the triple. Good.
Now, Heather, you are a transplant recipient, kidney transplant recipient.
Yes, I had my transplant in 2011 here in Vancouver.
Wow.
So not that long ago.
And from a living donor, cadaveric transplant?
It was a cadaveric transplant,
okay.
Yeah. 2008 when I first got diagnosed. And it was quite a shock, you don't know what's happening, and then all of a sudden find out that you're in need of a kidney transplant.
Did you know anything about kidney disease prior to that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Unfortunately, my mother had passed away earlier on in life from kidney disease, but my sister and I are both here competing. She's a transplant recipient.
As well, because you've actually been involved with the Kidney Foundation for a few years, and you actually put on a golf tournament a while back. There's different things that people can get actively involved in their community.
Oh, for sure. We've done quite a few things in Cranbrook, not as much as the larger centers, but for sure we did a golf tournament that raised some money and some awareness. We've done a couple of spots on the radio. That's been always good.
Yeah.
And St. Eugene Mission in Cranbrook has really been supportive of the Kidney Foundation, and they're going to be doing some special donations for the month of July.
Wow. So having been to many several Canadian Transplant Games, your sister representing another province as well, there's got to be a lot of meaning here to you. What does it mean to you to participate at the Transplant Games?
You want me to cry, don't you? It's huge to have a second chance and to be out here and doing this. Before organ donation, I could barely walk a golf course, and I competed a couple of days ago, or yesterday I guess it was, in golf, and won a gold medal. And to see all these people out here that can do this, that before we were just kind of clinging to life, not really doing much. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Organ donation is just, it really is a second chance at life. I just don't know how else to put it.
Addison, you were competing today in the Canadian Transplant Games.
Yes.
So I saw you in the long jump. You were jumping as high and as long as a kangaroo. I couldn't believe it. And then you ran like Supergirl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And look what you have. You actually won 3 medals. Right?
But I gave one to my donor.
To your donor mom. To your donor's mom. That's fantastic. Which ones are these? You got
The silver
Okay, we're going to attempt to do one more group.
ball throw.
the gold is for the long.
We saw you winning that one. Yeah.
And then
Bronze
I
medal goes to
gave
Blake
one of the
Ferguson.
running ones
Is Blake here?
my donor mom, and then I have another
Blake, listen down.
which is for the
Also,
25.
in the male
Well, you were,
50-59,
I used to call you a triple threat. Now I don't know what a quadruple threat is, but you were really amazing. I was so excited watching you do all the events. Well, high five, congratulations, and thanks for making BC proud. You were awesome. You were really amazing, and we'll catch up with you next time at the next Transplant Games. Can't wave goodbye to all your fans out there, because there's some fans.
Get one now.
And you're witnessing some well-deserved congratulatory hugs and kisses from the kids. We've got the legendary Clark Bales with us. Hi, Clark.
Hi.
And Clark, this is well-deserved because I think you have just won the gold medal at the Canadian Transplant Games for the 20K cycling. Is that right?
That seems to be right, yeah, the 20-kilometer road race.
20-kilometer road race. Thank you. Well, this is so exciting. It's still going on, but I have to say I was watching you, and you were just going at an incredible pace.
Yeah, I race locally, and I thought, why not try and do my best here and show what organ transplantation can do.
And you have a story. You're a liver transplant recipient.
Yeah, liver transplant recipient in December of 2010. I had an autoimmune liver disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis, and it took about 5 years from diagnosis to transplantation, and of course it's been 7.5 years since then. It was sort of steady decline at first, and then I really took a nosedive in 2010, and I was listed for only 16 weeks, and I got my transplant in December.
So this would be your first Canadian Transplant Games in Vancouver.
That's right. Yeah, last 2012 was in Calgary. I missed the one in Moncton and Toronto, and then here in Vancouver.
So, Clark, what does it mean to you being a transplant recipient and coming out here and competing with everybody? Everyone's saying it's such a family. What does it mean to you personally?
Yeah, everybody's got that in common, and everybody has different skills and abilities, but we all have that one common bond of transplantation, and it really shows what we're capable of afterwards. I think it's great for that.
And to recognize the need, because you said, how long were you on the transplant list?
I was only 16 weeks, but I know if I hadn't declined sharply, I could have been stuck there for years. I had to get sick enough in order to then get better.
Katrina, congratulations. You're just back from, I think, a victory lap on the 20K road race.
I have no idea how many laps I did. I was just until someone told me to stop, I was just carrying on. So yeah.
I think we're going to catch it, and then we just kept seeing keep going. So we're like, okay, the victory lap works. Okay, so how are you feeling after this?
That was hard. Yeah. I run, but I don't really normally road bike. I have no mountain bike that I up and down Broad Bridge on. That's about it, really. So that was a big hill.
It was a hill right here, right at the end.
13 times. It was like how.
Actually, I think it was 14 times.
It might have been 14. Yes, just to get the. I got the feel of it by then, you know.
So now you got your wind under your feet, right? You know, for what other sports are you competing in? Events.
5K road race and then some track events. So yes, I had bowling this morning. It was good fun, but fourth is thank you for turning up. We can go home now. That's okay. It was just really good fun, actually. It's really nice. So and that's it really. So day off tomorrow, and then just doing sort of volunteering stuff and things. So yeah.
No stranger to our plugged-in viewers, Kate Chong. You're participating at your first Canadian Transplant Games.
I am, yes. First one, first event, and it would seem that I have accomplished the 20 kilometers cycling event. So,
how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. Definitely okay that I don't need to do this hill once more. 13 times was plenty. So
we were hearing there's a hill here, right? In the last Canadian Transplant Games, it was, I think, flat surface.
Here in Toronto, there wasn't much of a hill. This one, it was a nice gradual hill, but multiple times in, it definitely gets a little tiring.
So your first games, was it also your first event?
Yes, it was. Yeah, biking, and I have running on Thursday, 5 kilometers. So yeah, first event of my first ever Transplant Games Canadian. It's a great experience to be out here.
So 48 hours to recoup before you hit the track?
Yeah, a little less because it's Thursday morning, but looking forward to running as well.
And your husband is here as your biggest cheerleader, and he's also your living kidney donor.
Yes, that's correct. Brian's down close to the end of the route there, volunteering today, so he's been able to cheer me on. He lost count for me, so luckily there's people here telling us how many times to go around. But yeah, he's my biggest supporter, and I can't thank him enough, not only for the new gift of life, but also being here to cheer me on. Friday will be 10 months since surgery, so it's still pretty fresh. We haven't even hit 1 year. So to be on a bike, I'm more of a casual biker. I'm not a competitive bike rider whatsoever. So I feel pretty proud that I'm here, I'm feeling well, and I accomplished it. So.
Well, congratulations, Kate, and good luck on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
And no stranger to our plugged-in viewers, Brenda Brown.
Hi.
How are you doing, Brenda?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm doing all right.
Okay, so we're at the Transplant Games. I mean, we were talking about it all last month on Plugged In, building up the excitement. You're competing in tennis singles, right?
I am, yep. In just, 20 minutes, half an hour from now.
Okay. So tell me, what does it mean to you to be here right now?
It's surreal, actually. We've been leading up to this for 6 months, 7 months now. All the preparation. I haven't had much time in the last couple of weeks to actually train. But to be here competing with a healthy kidney. My daughter was at opening ceremonies last night. My grandson, I feel like I'm gonna cry. But I'm actually here competing for my first games, and I'm just so excited. I've seen all these people here to support me. It's amazing.
And Brenda, you deserve a lot of kudos and credit, you and your team. You're also the manager of the Canadian Transplant Games this year here in Vancouver. We were at the opening ceremonies. It was phenomenal. It was emotional, inspirational. It was just sensational. So congratulations. What did you feel last night watching what was happening on stage, the Chan Center?
I was really proud. I was really proud of the team that put it together. I was proud of all of our amazing athletes that came here to enjoy it. I was really honored to be part of the team. I was honored to be one of the recipients. I was honored for our donor families that got to experience it. We put it on for them. We put it on for everyone that got to experience the gift of life that they were there to enjoy. It was a celebration, and it was a good way to kick off this week.
And how did you feel walking across that stage? I was sitting in the audience, and the BC team was they were the last ones, and there was a standing ovation. Everybody stood up, cheering, screaming. I mean, How did you feel?
It was the culmination of all the hard work that we've put into being here. And yeah, we're excited. We hope to bring home a lot of medals to represent the games. Yeah, it was so exciting just to see all of those people walk across that stage. So proud. And I kept thinking about all the organs that they had in them that brought out those screams. The lungs, the kidneys, the pancreases, the hearts. They earned every one of them.
Congratulations on the opening ceremonies. The countdown to your first event is coming up, so we're going to let you go, but not without a good luck wish from all the viewers that plugged in, and we'll catch up with you after the game.
Thank you very much.
You're with Team Alberta, one of, 23 members of the team?
Yes, I did. I drove out just from outside of Edmonton, Stony Plain area, and we drove out over the last 2 days to get here and compete.
How exciting. Now, what's even more exciting is I hear you said it's your first transplant game.
Yes, it was even after surgery. When I was doing rehab, I seen a poster on the wall, and I always promised myself that one day I'm going to become part of the Canadian Transplant Games. And so finally, 4 years later, almost 4 years later, I'm here and I did it. I was diagnosed with primary sclerosing cholangitis when I was 27 years old, and it was a slowly progressive disease to the point where I went into liver failure, and I went into in 2014, in February, I went onto the waiting list for a transplant, and I was on the list until finally I ended up hospitalized, and in hospital in September, I finally received my liver. So I was hospitalized for just about 6 weeks before I got my liver.
What does it mean to you that somebody signed that donor card?
It means the world to me. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be able to watch my kids grow up. I have a 17-year-old daughter and turning 17 and a 19-year-old son, and I've got to watch them grow and prosper and got to be with my husband, and it's meant the world to me because I never thought I'd get to see them grow up and graduate high school, and it's amazing. I've got my life back.
From all of us here in Vancouver and British Columbia, I just want to say thank you for coming to our games. Merci beaucoup. Gracias, just all the languages, thank you. It has been an amazing experience. It's been wonderful.